I've never met anyone who knows as much about Star Wars as Dave Filoni. There's a couple other people that ended up working and going with him on Clone Wars and Rebels and all that. King of the Hill was upstairs, Simpsons was downstairs. So yeah, and I was at The Simpsons for over a period of about 10 years.
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Sith Talk. Today we have on the show Tricia, Buchanan, Benson. How you doing, Tricia?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Can you tell us a little bit about where we can find you at and what you do?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at art_by_TBB. And I also have a website, which is tbbenson.com. And I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Blue Sky.
Nice. Awesome. So for you guys watching, I'm going to put the link to all their stuff down in the description. So everyone that comes on, we start off with 3 Star Wars questions to warm them up. Are you ready?
Sure, I'm ready.
All right. So the first one is, what is your favorite Star Wars movie?
That's a really tough one. I am an original trilogy girl all the way. I probably would have to say it would be Star Wars: A New Hope.
Nice.
I think that Empire is a stronger movie, but without Star Wars, nothing would have happened. We wouldn't have everything that we have today.
Yep.
It's cool because I live about 5 minutes away. I'm in LA. I live 5 minutes away from where the original Industrial Light and Magic was.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's off of Valjean Avenue, and every year, well, the last couple of years, around May 4th, they do an event there. It's teeny tiny, but they allow tours through the building.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's cool. You can see John Dykstra's office. You can see and it's a different business altogether. Obviously, they don't still make movies there, but you can really feel the sense of what went on there and that Star Wars was made.
Yeah.
The famous pictures that I'm sure you've seen of the Death Star being shot in the parking lot. That's all still there. The building looks the same. And the last time I went, a guy came who was one of the original camera assistants, and he had a section of the original Death Star trench run.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got to be right up close.
Yeah.
On a bit of Star Wars history, and it's just a really cool thing. So, for that, I think Star Wars, hands down, A New Hope, my favorite.
Nice. So now more and more, A New Hope is my favorite out of the trilogy. When I was a kid watching it, it was always Return of the Jedi. I loved Return of the Jedi.
Sure, of course.
But A New Hope, it holds that special place because, like you said, that's where it all started. That's the first thing I saw. Fell in love with Luke, Vader right away, Han, Leia. It's where it all began. So yeah, that's one of my favorites out of the OT for sure.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Now, the next one is, what is your favorite Star Wars show?
I think it's a toss-up. There's so many. I really love The Mandalorian because I think I was surprised by how much I liked it.
Yeah.
Just the show in and of itself, Mando's such a cool character, all the adventures that he has. Don't even get me started about when Luke showed back up. Everyone I know who's a Star Wars fan who was watching that was just screaming at their television when that was happening.
Yes.
So, I also really love Skeleton Crew. It's a lot more recent, but I thought it was super fun.
It was. Skeleton Crew was super fun for sure. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was solid. It was a good one for sure.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, definitely.
Now, the last question is, who is your favorite Star Wars character?
I think, it's hard because I love Vader, all the way. I think everybody starts from a place where, you know, when you're a kid and you first see Darth Vader, you're like, who is that? What is that?
Yeah.
Terrified. And I love it. But I think in the end, I'd have to go with Leia.
Nice.
And the reason I think is because a lot of it has to do with Leia herself, and as well what Carrie Fisher brought to the role. I
Mm-hmm.
think if that had been played by anyone else, it would be a very different role.
Yeah.
You know, she had so much to do with the forming of that character, even writing some of her own lines and having input on the script in a way that I think
Yeah.
it changed how that would have been perceived. So, yeah, just say Leia.
Nice. Awesome. So we're clearly going to talk more Star Wars stuff, but I want to talk first about how you got into like animation, being an animator and artist, because you started with like the Simpsons, Futurama, and King of the Hill. Was that what how you first got into it?
So basically, I was a film major when I went to college. Um, I had always wanted to be an animator.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that from when I was a kid, I wanted to be in animation. So I went to film school with the goal of trying to be an animator. Did all of my projects in animation. My first job outside, my first animation job, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
when I got out of film school was for King of the Hill.
Nice.
Yeah, which was great. It was a great experience. It was a really long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, super fun. It was super challenging. Those characters were really challenging to draw.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but there's a lot of like, you know, Star Wars, like Clone Wars and Rebels people that came out of King of the Hill.
Didn't Filoni do King of the Hill too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he was there at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's funny because, uh, you know, I was a character layout artist. At that time, he was also a character layout artist.
Uh-huh.
Super nice guy. Like, you know, can't say enough good things about him. I've never met anyone who knows as much about Star Wars as Dave Filoni. Like,
Yeah.
he knows everything. And even back then, he knew everything. So seeing where he's gone, it's not, I mean, it is surprising, but it's not surprising.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a cool thing. So yeah, he was there. There's a couple other people that ended up working and going with him on Clone Wars and Rebels and all that stuff. So, you know, it's animation. All those guys are all around everywhere.
Yeah.
So so yeah, that was the first place where I worked. And then after that, King of the Hill was in the same building as the Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
So King of the Hill was upstairs, Simpsons was downstairs. I ended up bouncing to the Simpsons after that. I think my first season was the end of season 10.
Okay.
And then so yeah, and I was at the Simpsons for over a period of about 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and I worked on the Simpsons movie, and then I worked on Futurama for a bit, which was fantastic. It was all great and super fun. So yeah,
I have to say thank you so much because I was born in 85, so I grew up watching Simpsons, King of the Hill, Futurama. So like I have so many memories of all of those, and that's crazy to speak to you who was a part of all those memories because I loved all those shows, especially The Simpsons. Like I would remember every year waiting for the Halloween, the Treehouse of Horror episode to come out. And then I like the movie, saw the movie and all that stuff. So that is so cool.
Thanks.
Which one did you have the most fun on? Simpsons, Futurama, or King of the Hill?
Oh gosh. I mean, that's hard. I mean, all of them were fun in different ways. You know, and obviously The Simpsons was incredible. I'm still friends with a lot of people over there and see them all
Yeah.
the time. Futurama was amazing just because I love that show in a way that it's so funny in its own kind of quirky
Yep.
spy way. Like getting to draw Bender is just the best.
Yeah.
And The Simpsons has been around for such a long time and is such an institution.
Yep.
It's a little hard to wrap your head around when you're doing something and you're drawing these characters and you're so familiar with it. And obviously everyone knows who The Simpsons is.
Yeah.
It can be hard to like understand because, you know, you're just working and getting stuff done and trying to get episodes finished. And then you almost kind of forget. It's like, oh yeah, other people are watching this. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, you know, we had so many crazy good times with The Simpsons. Like, I mean, I remember, you know, I was on the show when The Phantom Menace came out, and we were all so excited and
Yeah.
bought tickets and ran down to the Chinese theater, and we were all waiting in line to watch it. You know, it's crazy stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
you just don't forget. Like everyone who works on The Simpsons, who works animation, everyone's a huge Star Wars fan. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's just sort of part of it.
That is so awesome. That's so cool. So after that, how did you get into the Star Wars stuff, the art, the Star Wars and Disney stuff? How did that come about?
So I did Disney fine art like intermittently while I was working on The Simpsons for a long time.
Okay.
And then with Star Wars art, I had known the people over at Acme for a really long time. I used to like way back in the day, like I would do some like Simpsons commission drawings for people that would go through Acme, and
Yeah.
Acme and I think they still do they would handle all of the like production drawing and sales from The
Yeah.
Simpsons. So you know, and they've had a working relationship with Lucasfilm for forever. I mean, even before Disney was even thinking about buying it. So they were with Fox, and it was its whole thing. So it had always been thrown around like, hey, you should do some Star Wars art. And, you know, and I love the idea, but I always remember thinking, I'm like, I have no idea what I would do. Like, there's
Yeah.
so much. What on earth would I do that hasn't already been done? How would I tackle that? And I would sort of toy with it and like come back to it every so often. Like I can't think of what I do. And then Mandalorian came out, and I was like, I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do. So I did my first two pieces that I pitched. It was Gimme, which was Grogu, and Journey, which was Mando and Grogu on the speeder bike. So those were my first two, and they immediately got accepted. And they're like, "Yep, this is great. Okay," and now we're off and running. So that's how that whole thing sort of started.
Nice. So you pitched those ideas, and then they just took them to the website and sold it that way?
Yeah. Uh-huh. They went straight into the websites and yeah, and sold it like that. So and they turned out to be, you know, very popular. I think Journey is sold out. So yeah, people seem to really dig it. So that was a fun thing.
Nice. Now, I know you're gonna be at Japan Celebration. This is not your first celebration, is it?
No, my first celebration was in London. It was 2023. I was at the previous celebration at Anaheim. I just since it was in Southern California, I just sort of I was going to go to Celebration for the day, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Why don't you come over and you know sit at a table and we'll get some of your prints?" I'm like, "Sure, sounds great." So, and I didn't even know about the Celebration art show before then.
Yeah.
Thought it was an artist alley, and I was like, "Oh,"
Yeah.
cool. And I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute! Like, what's with the art show?" And the Acme was like, "Oh, we have an art show, and you have to submit to get in." So I was like, "Okay, cool! Like that sounds like a lot of fun." So I thought, well, if I come up with something, I'll submit. So that's what happened.
Nice. So 2022 Anaheim was your first celebration ever that you ever been to, right?
Yes. Yeah, ever. Yeah.
What was your experience and reaction going to your first celebration? Because before that, you've been to other cons before, right?
Yeah, I had
Okay.
gone to like a couple of smaller cons, and then there's San Diego Comic Con, which
Yeah.
is a huge one. And I mean, I just thought it was super cool. I thought that everybody was really nice, which I mean, people at conventions are nice. It's not that people can't be nice, but like the Star Wars fans are particularly nice,
Yes.
which I found really like great. And everybody just wanted to hang out and talk about Star Wars. Anaheim that year was particularly cool because they had that whole Mandalorian display, which was great.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I just thought the whole thing was really fantastic. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I love Celebration so much, and that's honestly why I started my channel, is to let people know about it, how it works. Because I found it by accident in 2017 because I was living in Orlando, and
Okay.
I drove by the convention center and I saw banners for Star Wars Celebration. I'm like, "What is that? I like
Yeah.
Star Wars." And I went for 2 days and I was hooked, and I haven't missed since
Nice.
then. But
Nice.
it's funny you say that everyone is just nice there, because like, it's with Celebration, everybody is just happy and in a good mood, and
Yeah.
it's not like how it is on the internet with certain Star Wars fans. Like,
No.
the internet sucks at times, but Celebration in person, it's like your family with all these strangers, and it's such a good time.
It
Um,
really is. Yeah, you're
yeah.
right. It's I had some of the folks at Acme, they're like, Star Wars Celebration people are the nicest people that you're gonna meet. They're seriously just happy and like nice. You're never gonna go to another convention and have people as nice as
Yep.
everybody overall. So which was it turned out to be true. So no.
So after your first celebration, you found out about the art show. So then you came up with the design and you submitted it. So what did you submit for London? Like, what was that process like coming up with that print?
So usually for me, when I'm doing an art piece, my tack is a little bit, because I come from an animation background. Usually you're used to telling stories using a series of images.
Hmm.
So for me, when I'm setting up an art piece, I'm trying to figure out what story I can tell as simply as possible within one frame. So the piece that I had pitched and did and that got accepted into London Celebration, it was My Only Hope.
Hmm.
Was actually have a copy of it right here. Was when I
Oh, I think I remember seeing that at the art show
yeah,
online for London
yeah,
when they did a video.
that was me.
Well,
So
both Leia's, the older and the younger one.
it was so when I saw Kenobi, the series, the thing that kind of struck me about it is I really loved how it filled in a relationship that
Hmm.
we didn't really know existed in the original Star Wars. You were like when Leia reaches out to Ben Kenobi for help, you're thinking, oh well, it must be because he's this crazy amazing Jedi that.
Yeah, yeah.
But the fact that they filled in this whole story, like, no, they had a relationship and went on this whole adventure, and they were familiar with each other in that sort of way. It just brought a level of depth and dimension to it that I hadn't anticipated that I would feel about the series.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the inspiration of, okay, well, I wanted to do something that was in relation to A New Hope. When we first get a peek at Leia when she's feeding the message into R2,
Yep.
and then as well, like her from Kenobi. Like Kenobi, I thought the look of it was really cool with all the neon. It had kind of a Blade
Yeah.
Runner feel, which I thought was really appealing. So kind of balancing that with the image from A New Hope and combining the two pieces to tell a story. about that relationship and what that meant. So it was really cool. I was so surprised when it got accepted.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly you see the artwork that's there. It's you just never know. You never know what they're going to be thinking. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I like this idea, but maybe they'll think it's terrible.
Yeah.
But they loved it, and fans really responded to it, and it was a really cool thing to see in real time.
That's awesome. What was your reaction when you got that email saying that you got into the London Art Show?
It was almost like, oh man, now I got to go to London. What did I do? I thought it was great. Yeah, I was so surprised and like thrilled, and it was just really cool. It was a huge honor.
That is awesome. So from there, what was your experience like at London Celebration, with it being your second celebration and you being an artist there with the table, with the print? What was that experience like, especially in comparison to Anaheim?
I mean, it was really different in terms of being in the actual art show and having people coming over and, responding to the artwork, people that had purchased it, people that were just seeing it when they were coming by. It was almost, I mean, it wasn't overwhelming necessarily, but I was really just surprised by how many people because I sold out in the beginning of the second day, and I was surprised by that.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that we had so my husband was there along with my daughter, and they were both helping me, which is fantastic. But I mean, there were people coming by who were, getting choked up seeing in person. Like, there was a guy who was a super burly dude, with like a biker jacket on, and was walking by, and he stopped and looked at my print, and he just said loud enough to where we could hear him. He was like, "That just hurts my soul." And then I'm like, wow, okay.
Wow.
So yeah, getting that kind of response from people was really incredible. Yeah. So, and unfortunately, like, being at the table, I didn't really get a chance to go and, see a lot of panels or see a lot of stuff, but it's still a fantastic experience.
Nice. Was that your first time going to London?
Yes. Well, I had been to London briefly a number of years ago, but I hadn't been there for that long of a time. So it was great. Had an amazing time.
Nice. So after that, we find out Japan Celebration is 2 years later. So like, did you know right away that you're going to apply for it? And did you start like thinking of, what am I going to do for the next one?
I was thinking, and I'm like, well, it's always that thing of, okay, I would like to apply if I come up with an idea that seems to work. For me, it's got to be about the idea first. And if I'm like, well, if I come up with something, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And of course, like, talking to all the other artists, like, people are like, oh, you're going to come up with something. I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. If I come up with something, then I will apply. And the more I was thinking about it as time was going on, I think I have something. I think I've figured out something that I want to do. And that came with the fun thing about this piece is that it is a similar theme to My Only Hope, but this with Luke. So, and that one I know because I watched you talking about it, and we had the whole thing with this guy right here. So, and the fun thing about this is that when I was doing it and when I was watching Luke as he was training Grogu, there were a lot of scenes that reminded me of Luke's training when he was in the training with Yoda. And I don't know if that was, I mean, I'm sure it was intentional, but particularly set up when they were sitting in the field with the tree and the whole thing. And I'm like, well, yeah, I remember, in Dagobah, he was sitting on the ground and Yoda was there.
Yeah.
Make a really interesting juxtaposition and tell a really fascinating story. So that's where that came from. And as well, part of the thing is that, the scene with Dagobah, I wanted to do it in more blue tones.
Mm-hmm.
And then the scene with Grogu, I wanted to do it with more green tones, reflective of two of the different shades of Luke's lightsaber.
Yeah.
At in particular points
Oh.
where he started, it was blue, and then by the time he was a master, it was green. So,
Yeah.
it's sort of the thought that goes into it.
That's awesome. And that's what I was gonna ask you is what made you pick those two specific moments? But it kind of sounds like you started with Luke with Grogu and it kind of took
Uh-huh.
you to the other ones.
Yeah, it kind of worked its way backwards. And, it's like in the swamp, there's that tree. Like when you look at the scene, there's kind of a tree-like shape. I'm like, what if I took that and I kind of blended it in with the tree that's, in the scene with Grogu. And it's that thing of when you have this idea and then you start working on it, and you're like, I don't know if this is going to work.
Yeah.
It's every time I go through a process of these things, I get started and I'm excited about the idea. And then I get about like halfway through and I'm like, I don't think this is working. I think I just screwed the whole thing up. And then I come through on the other side and I'm like, oh no, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
I got it. I think it's okay. So I'm really pleased with the way that it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really excited that it got accepted.
Now, did you submit only this one or did you submit 2 prints?
So the first time I submitted in London, I only submitted 1.
Ooh, wow.
I know.
Home run.
Well, I know. And I couldn't, I was like, should I submit another one? I'm like, I can't think of anything. I'm like, I don't know. Like, what would I do? And I'm like, you know what? I really like this one. I'm just going with it.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I submitted to the one that got accepted, which is called Your Path You Must Decide. It was much more fleshed out than the other one was.
Okay.
The other one was a Han Leia Falcon thing.
Okay.
So, which would have been great as well, but I'm not upset that they chose this one.
That's awesome. So what was your reaction the second time getting that email saying that you got in and now you're going even further because Japan is further than London?
I was like, well, I guess I'm going to Japan. So, no, and it was great, like super excited. And, like I know there's a lot of people that were applying and really gunning to get in this show. So the fact that I did get in, it did make it feel extra special.
Yeah.
Because like I said, you just never know. You really don't know like what the mood is of people that are looking at it. How are they going to feel and how are they going to respond?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's really exciting and super honored. So, yeah.
Have you been to Japan before?
I have.
Oh, so I've never been. So this is my first time. So this trip is going to be insane because I fly out in like 2 weeks. Like I think exactly 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited. What part of Japan did you go to when you went?
I went to Tokyo and Osaka.
Nice.
So, and it was incredible. It was great. You're going to have so much fun. You really are. Like it's amazing. There's no place that I've been that's quite like it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went before, like I had to, my daughter who's now 13, she was 5 at the time. And I think she's never let me forget it that I left her behind. She's like, no, I'm going to Japan. I'm like, okay, we'll make it work. So yeah, it's an incredible country. Tokyo is an amazing city. It's mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing.
Nice. Are you excited going back again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I'm going to eat so much ramen.
Nice.
It's really, crazy fun. Yeah, just so many like, cool things and collectibles and, just the whole experience is just completely different from any place else.
Yeah, that's what's gonna get me is the collectibles because I'm a big Nintendo guy. Like I grew up with every Nintendo console, like the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, like everything. So like Japan, that's the motherland where it all came from.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited for that.
Well, and it's crazy too because I remember being in one of they have these lots of different chains that are there, and I was inside of a store called Big Camera.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that, especially being from America, you know, none of the electronics have security on them. Nothing is locked up.
Wow.
So you're and because culturally, that's just it's something that is super frowned upon to
Yeah.
take something. So the notion that you could just pick up a laptop and you're like, well, like
Yeah.
look at it right here. You're like, oh, okay, like like this is so strange to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of it is just out. There's no like glass cases or anything like that.
Man, I can't wait. It's gonna be so much fun. Like we have so much planned, like going to Universal over there,
Nice,
Disney.
nice.
We got tickets to the Nintendo Museum, which was a pain to get, but
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard
yeah.
that.
So
I'm glad you made it in.
I know. Like I entered the raffle, didn't win. I was pissed for days.
Oh,
But
no.
then people, I guess online, the leftover ones were put on at a certain day, and it was like a random day at 3 in the morning, and I just happened to wake up and see a Facebook post that someone said they're live, and it's like 3 in the morning. I'm in bed and I'm reserving it, and I
Oh,
was like,
no.
thank God I actually got in.
Oh,
So yeah,
relief.
it's a relief, but it was on a day that was kind of inconvenient, but I'm making it work because it's on the morning where I'm supposed to be leaving Osaka to come back to Chiba to pick up my badges that Thursday.
Okay,
So
okay.
we're just doing a little detour. Thank God for those bullet trains that get you everywhere so quick.
They're amazing. They're
So
amazing.
we're
Yeah.
taking a bullet train from Osaka to Kyoto, which is like 13 minutes, which is nuts.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Doing the museum and then hopping on a bullet train straight to Tokyo to Chiba to the convention center to get our badges.
Smart.
Yeah.
Great. That's amazing. Yeah, I'm not sure how much like running around Japan we're gonna do. Like my husband's coming with, and he um the very end of last year he broke his ankle. So
Ooh.
he's fine, he's
Uh-huh.
okay, but it's sort of hedged things in terms of planning a lot of running around. Like, I'm sure he'll be okay. He's out of a cast. He's walking around. He's good. He's doing physical therapy. But I
Yeah.
want to like sign up for a whole bunch of like crazy
Yeah.
stuff, and then have him be like, I can't move, like
Yeah.
So yeah. But it'll be great. I don't care. It'll be fun anyway.
At your table at Japan, are you gonna have any other like of your other prints there, like for sale, or is it just gonna be the celebration one?
I should have. I might have some other stuff. I'm debating about bringing some of my APs
Mhm.
from other things, and I'm gonna have I think some originals as well.
Nice.
I have an original for the print "You Path You Must Decide" that'll be there with me,
Mhm.
and then as well, like I have stickers that I made. I don't know if
Yes. Oh, Neil. Yes.
Neil! It's like
I love Neil.
blowing it out. It's a little bubble bath sticker of him because I'm ridiculous and Neil's ridiculous and needed a sticker. So
Yeah.
I'll be handing those out or have them for trade. If people want to come by, I'm happy to give you one.
Nice.
My daughter will probably be because when I do the last few years, I've done a booth at Comic Con, and she's been there dressed as a Jawa, so she'll probably be there handing out stickers.
Oh.
So yeah, she's 13. She'll be a little bit of a tall Jawa. I'm like, it's fine, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like do
That's
what makes you happy.
That's awesome. But the whole Neil in the bubble bath, when I saw that, like when I was watching it, it was the funniest thing because it's like a big Scarface. Like he looked like Tony Montana, but it's innocent Neil in a bubble bath. And didn't we get that twice? Wasn't there another time he was in the bubble bath and we
I
saw him
think
again?
so. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Like, there's a huge like movement, this Neil Nation. Like, we have to
Yeah.
fight Neil at all costs.
Yes.
He's a crazy cute character, and you're like, oh my god, like we can't let anything bad happen to him. He's got to be
Yes.
okay. So I hope they do more with Skeleton Crew, just because I think it was super fun. But we'll just have to see what happens.
I hope they do too, because those kid actors all did such a good job for them being as young as they are. I
Oh, yeah.
was really impressed and surprised. Like, it was great. They crushed it. I would love more with all 4 of them.
Yo, yeah. It was so like, I don't know, like, I enjoyed Andor. I mean, I like all of it,
Mhm.
but it was nice to have something that was such a palate cleanser from everything being so serious.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I think because the thing that I've always loved about Star Wars, yes, it's serious, and yes, everything's at stake, but there was a sense of camaraderie amongst like Luke and Leia and Han, and you loved them as characters, and them like sort of elbowing each other the entire time was part of the fun. So
Yeah.
whenever you can get a little bit of those moments of levity, I think it's a fun thing. It's a great thing. So it was nice to see something along that line.
Yes. So it's so interesting your story with how you began because I've had maybe 4 other artists from the artist show all on here, and
Uh-huh.
it seems like everybody got in through Tops somehow, some way. And like you're the first one where I'm kind of waiting to see is there a top story? So you've never done anything with Top?
I had never done so there is very recently I just found out that my 2 first pieces, which were Gimme and Journey, have made it onto like Topps digital cards
Oh, online? Okay.
online. So, but I think they don't tell you, and it's just something that just sort of happened. I was actually told by another
Oh,
artist that happened. I was like, oh, I had no idea. Uh,
yeah.
so yeah, it's like I'm not opposed to Tops or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
It's just not where I've come from.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a different tack since, like obviously collectibles and Tops and everything are huge in the animation industry as well. Like
Yeah.
people that work in the industry are just like everybody else. They've got their collectibles, they love
Mhm.
everything. We all have all the stuff. I think it's most like there's an unfamiliarity with how you get into do Tops cards. Like I know with Joe and with some of the other people you've talked to, like they went at Celebration and like opened up their portfolio and like how
Yeah.
get in. And it's amazing that's possible, that you can do that and get in that fashion. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
it was just something I was unaware of. So,
Yeah.
it's like, it's like
No,
not a lot of Simpsons Tops cards routes from,
yeah.
know.
Well, it's funny, I remember back in the day, I don't know if it was Tops, but I remember in the '90s collecting Simpsons trading cards, and I
Oh,
remember
I'm
I
sure.
had a bunch. Yeah, those they were cool, they were fun.
And
But,
I don't know like who did that back in the day, but a lot of times they have people that work as artists that do a lot of the merchandise stuff,
yeah,
and like there's like bongo comics and that kind of thing. So sometimes there's
gotcha.
artists that work on the show that do those things. Sometimes they have dedicated people that do that. It just kind of depends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's possible that, because I know there's usually the Galaxy Top set releases towards the end of the year, and that's where like, a lot of these artists will have their cards. It's possible that one of your arts could pop up in that set later this year and you won't even know it
I
until
know it could
you
be.
open it.
Keep
Yeah.
keep your eyes out. If anyone sees it, let me know.
Oh,
Like
I
hit me up and tell me that it's out there so I can find it.
I
You
got
know?
you for sure, because
Thank
that Galaxy set is my favorite, the one from last year. So when
you.
the new set drops, I will be getting boxes right away,
Oh,
going live on YouTube release
nice.
day, ripping it. So if I see your name on the back, I will send that to you ASAP.
Fantastic. Yeah, hold
Yes.
it for me. Like I would love that. I would love that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So, do you have anything coming up that you want to share that the people could look forward to?
So I am supposed to be doing a panel at WonderCon, which is this Saturday.
Nice.
Yeah, it's with a group called Girls Drawing Girls. Excuse me, sorry, I'm a little phlegmy. And it's just talking about the status of the entertainment arts and how things are going. I believe I will be at San Diego Comic Con again this year. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, And I've had a booth there the last couple of years. It's been great. People have been, super friendly, almost as friendly as, Star Wars Celebration, I would say. Pardon me, but everyone's been great. There's some other things that are happening that I can't really talk about right now. And usually I've been very fortunate the last 4 years, I think. I've been able to do dates in Florida at the Festival of the Arts at Epcot. So, and there's like quite a few of the celebration artists that end up going through
Yeah.
doing dates out there, which is a super fun thing. So, for people who are in Florida, if you happen to be out in, out in the theme parks out there when they do the festival, which is like end of January, February, depending. So you can say hi if you want to. Yeah, it's usually a super fun thing. Like people come by, they say hi. You can get, prints if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Every year when I go, I usually make something special as part of my display when I'm there. So one of the things I did when I was in college, it might be a little bit before your time, but there was Tower Records, if you remember.
Oh yeah, of course. Yes,
So
yes.
when I was in college, one of my jobs was I was a window display artist. I had to like build like the new album that would be coming out, and I would have to like make the display.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a lot of modern day use for the skills that I have from there. So what I tend to do is I will make a little display every year as a new fun thing. This last year, here I'll show you. I made a little guy to go on top of my sign, and it was this.
Oh.
It's something kind of like, crazy and cute, just to
Yeah.
with all the heavier stuff. So every year I make a little thing so that people can come find me. So yeah, that's basically what's going on.
Awesome. So for you guys watching, go check out Tricia. I'm going to put the link to everything down in the description. But this has been a blast. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me and taking the time, even though I am not, as of yet, a tops person.
Oh, no, yeah.
But yeah, it's been great talking to you and like, seeing your videos where you talk about the Celebration Art Show and all the different pieces of artwork. It's really great to see your take on things when all of this stuff comes out. Cause I know I'll
Yeah.
get really excited, myself included. So thanks for
Awesome.
that.
Yes, awesome.
All
But
right.
that's going to be it for this episode of Sith Talk, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.